Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of Music and Politics, the only fusion show on the internet where we listen to music and think philosophically about politics. Every episode we turn to music to listen and analyze as a dimension of politics, to music as a political text, from tone poems to tropicalia, from gospel to grunge, and opera to hip-hop. From Thailand to Tallinn, from Soweto to Surabaya, and from Mumbai to Mobile, we traverse the world. And we guarantee, before you leave us today, you will have your eardrums a-tingle and your brain cells a-quiver with something new and unexpected you won't forget anytime soon. And please remember to rate and review and to like and subscribe to Music and Politics, and to support us on Patreon at Music and Politics Pod, one word. Any help at all is so very appreciated. It will keep us going, and in return, we pledge our personal attention and support to you in your learning. Happy and bold listening ahead. Welcome back, dear listeners of Music and Politics. Today, a special episode on the Estonian Song and Dance Festival. In just a few minutes, you'll hear a fascinating interview with a member of the production staff from this year's festival, the largest of its kind in Europe, with over 10,000 dancers and 30,000 choral singers. It is an astonishing presentation of mass from one of the smallest ethno-states in the world, just over 1 million in population. An incredible display of minority nationalism and cultural perseverance. The festival has its roots in the Lutheran choral traditions imprinted by the Baltic German settlers in the region, the descendants of the Teutonic Knights of the medieval Crusades. Dating back far from the more familiar mass demonstrations of totalitarian states in the mid-20th century, these jaw-dropping exercises in coordination and harmonization are a key index of how communal singing is a mark of personal uplift and social bonding, especially in days of the scarring and even erasure of the civic by so-called social media. Maybe it should be called unsocial or even antisocial media. Whether digital dislocation or anxieties due to the poked Russian bear next door knocking closely at the door, this year's affair sold out in record time. With song texts that signal a, quote, fly up from sadness and strength and bravery through the storm, this entire phenomenon speaks to an historical experience of a region almost continually beset by marauding overlords. Many references to the sky storms and even creator gods testify to some preserving residues of an era of natural religion in a part of Europe where Christianity arrived comparatively late. This holistic event, spread out over several days, is one of a singular, living, breathing preservation of folklore in costumes, instruments, and dance forms, spread out over stadiums, specially built open-air song halls and town squares of Tallinn's renowned medieval center. Even at the times of torrential rain, little could dim the spirits of the participants. It's a kind of mini Olympics of music. The festival is preceded by an 18-day journey of the festival flame, which traveled 2,500 kilometers through every Estonian county from Tartu to Tallinn. And then the middle of the festival features a procession of all the participants that takes all afternoon. The choirs range in size from a multi-generational family of just 3 to an all-male choir that reaches the thousands. Schools are suspended to house the traveling participants, and public transport is made available to all, gratis for the event. The entirety is a remarkable feat of endurance, considering that the final concert lasts up to 7 hours. With no signs of any slacking of spirit, the next iteration scheduled for 3 years hence, rather than the traditional 5 due to COVID, is planned to be of even more monumental and breathtaking proportions. Please enjoy the interview and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave some comments. Fare thee well.
And every couple of years I'm in charge of international communications here at the Song and Dance Festival.
And for someone who doesn't know what the Song and Dance Festival is, how would you introduce it?
The Estonian Song and Dance Festival is a big gathering of choirs and dancers that has taken place in Estonia more than 150 years, and it's a big process, but it also is, I would say, a backbone of Estonian identity.
And in short, if you could describe how and why it came about and how it's persevered over the years.
So the very beginning is actually has to do with the German choir traditions. So mostly pastors and teachers in the 19th century who were Germans in this region, they started choirs. And then Estonian teachers also took upon this tradition, and sort of the Romantism era, where it was a national awakening that took place in all over Europe, also reached Estonia. And the choirs were like the first little pockets of this identification, self-identification, and the cultural activity. So 1869, the leaders organized the first event in Tartu, getting together male choirs at the time to sing together, and it was also mixed with a religious service. So the first sort of big public cultural effort, but it led to defining Estonians as a nation. So some Estonian composers who emerged at that time, they composed music using the poetry, or even some German choir songs were performed with Estonian lyrics. They are still being sung today. So that was how this first emerged.
Was there any German in the original, and why was it Tartu, which is the second city of Estonia, and not Tallinn?
At that time, Tartu was really sort of the heartland of Estonian culture as such. Tallinn was very much a German city at the time.
And could you describe then the tumultuous period, like around the First World War, let's say, and changing?
Yes, Estonians then kept meeting for these choir events regularly, and really this became sort of a definition of the nationhood. And finally, when Estonia became an independent republic, 1918, within the turbulence of the First World War, this singing tradition already had been kind of a defining element of self-understanding for the Estonians.
Mm.
And then the event moved, actually, the big event moved to Tallinn in the 1920s. So this was, yes, just a celebration of the identity in a way, and it did keep going even after Estonia was occupied by the Soviet Union. So in the Soviet era, and today many people say it was even more important then to keep it alive, because the song festivals meant that choirs kept going, and choirs were like little pockets of civil society in a way, because all public life was very much controlled by the Communist Party, and the sort of formalized but voluntary civil gatherings were the choirs.
Mm. So it wasn't explicitly forbidden under the Soviets, but was there censorship? Was there control over?
Exactly, yes. So it wasn't forbidden because the Soviets thought, oh wow, a fantastic event to use for Soviet propaganda. So there was control, there was censorship, and there was, of course, a lot of pressure to include songs in Russian, songs praising Lenin, Stalin, and the honor of the workers' class, and so on, the Soviet army. So it got really quite dark. But at the same time, they could not entirely ban Estonian songs. Of course, like the national anthem was banned and things like that. But there were several occasions where sort of the official program was quite Soviet colored, but also at the same time the censors worked in Russian, so composers and authors, when they presented their pieces to the censorship committee, were using a creative translation. And even during the Soviet time, actually, some very meaningful and patriotic songs emerged. Patriotic in terms of not Soviet patriotic, but Estonian patriotic, and songs that transmitted hope for freedom again.
It's striking how many of the texts relate to bravery and resilience. And is this a part of Estonian identity going back even before the Soviet era of being kind of occupied by foreign powers?
Of course, I mean, that's sort of also from the folk tunes ages ago, centuries ago. Estonia was conquered by the German crusaders. Right. So and the people lived as peasants, as farmers, as under serfdom for many centuries. So obviously the sort of the pain in that was in the songs as well, in the folk tunes.
I mean, as a counterfactual, we can't know, but what would have happened, do you think, had the Soviets tried an even harsher repression of the song festival?
Well, there were some situations where, like, when the official part of the program finished, I remember actually one of these events myself as a child, 1985. The official part was finished, and from the loudspeakers there was an order for the choirs to leave the stage. And the adult choirs then started to leave the stage. But the youth choirs were very high up, and they refused to go. And they just started to sing one tune by Rene Espere called Ärkamise aeg, Time of Awakening, which was composed in the 80s, in the early 80s. So Time for Awakening, it was clearly meant as a song for freedom. And they just kept going. So, and the military or the police force of the Soviet, they did not interfere. Obviously, I mean, you can't. It's still quite difficult, I guess, to go and shoot people just for singing.
Did it feel already at that time that this was coming to an end, that Soviet rule would soon be over, or was it a shock and surprise?
85, by no means, but really, right after that, the perestroika of Gorbachev started, so the first cracks appeared, and then it was like an ocean wave.
And how did the song festival change at that time during the?
Well, then it became very, very clear for everyone that this is what unites us, this is what gives us power, because really the energy of being together on this field, for that the people feel, the singers and the audience, is very, very empowering, and that it was just a natural thing for people to gather there during the singing revolution and sing. And also the organization of the Baltic Chain, 1989. Actually, the technical organization has very much to do with the practice that all these free nations had in organizing the song festivals, because you have to get masses of people. You got 1 million people into moving and organizing in a certain way, and we had practiced that during the song festivals.
It's astonishing from a logistical point of view. Could you explain what the singing revolution is for someone who might not know?
So in the end of, in the last years of the Soviet Union, Estonians gathered by many hundred thousands to the song festival grounds, and we had the rallies for freedom that also include singing, and there were many new songs composed for that as well, that were based on some old tunes from the 19th century, but in a very rocky, poppy manner. So yes, this was like a manifestation and the demonstration of this will for freedom and national awakening.
And could you say something about recent years where tension and turbulence has returned to the region, whether it's had an impact, do you think, either on the audience or on the performers?
In the 90s, actually, already, I think it changed. The first question after Estonia regained its independence was, do we need the song festivals now that we are free and independent again? But then it became really very clear that people have a strong desire to kind of reinforce this feeling every now and again. And of course, in times of political turbulence, where the security and safety is not clear, it's a manifestation or a reassurance of freedom and of being here, of being together. You find strength in being together with other people, a reassurance of of the temperature of the common will, if you say, that we want to preserve this culture, and we have to come together and say it out loud.
Is it true that more tickets were sold and more quickly because this year than previous recent years because of the ongoing political situation?
I'm not sure if the political situation plays a role here. It's just I think the motives of people might be different. It would be too brave a statement. But it just shows that this kind of I think it's not even it's not even that much the sort of the big geopolitics, but it maybe has to do with the contemporary world in the sense of this fracturing of the public space. Everyone lives in their own social media bubble, and sort of the common understanding of values that still connect us is fracturing. And this is an event where we can overcome this for a weekend.
What do you think makes song particularly suited for this purpose that it served?
It makes people very, very happy when they sing. And when they sing together, it makes them even more happy. It's possible to overcome your ideological, political differences and focus on this shared joy and goodness and kindness.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that it is related why particularly other neighboring Baltic countries have somewhat of a similar tradition, even Lithuania, which, for instance, doesn't have the Protestant heritage?
Yes, we all three have this. It's a curious thing, actually. I can't explain it. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, Latvia, obviously, we share a similar history. Maybe in the beginning of the 20th century, the three Baltics were kind of in the same geopolitical bloc, and with more exchange, this swapped over to Lithuania, because Lithuania started this tradition way later.
Right. In the late 20th century, do you mean?
In the beginning of the 20th century.
And it's fair to assume that during the World Wars there was a break for the festival performances, or when have there been breaks throughout the history?
Yeah, World War II. I would have to look that up. I'm not entirely sure how, but I mean, we always say we postpone it. It's not a break. It's a river.
It's remarkable the degree of logistics with, is it around 10,000 in certain cases performers, or at least at the dance performance?
The dance is 11,000. Okay. The choirs are 30,000 people. 30,000
people. I mean, it's absolutely astonishing, the coordination, and it's hard to grasp one's mind around how that the formations, the physical formations, are possible. And I wonder if you could describe a little bit of the training involved.
So the preparations began about 3.5 years before the event. The artistic director creates a team, they select the repertoire, they prepare and print the scorebooks, and the choirs then start rehearsing. Then half a year before the event, so in January, the choir, there are regional rehearsals where the artistic directors go to every Estonian region and rehearse together with choirs. So it might be 100 people, it might be up to 900 people, depending on the region and the facilities. So they already have some sort of a large choir experience. And then at the end there are auditions, so the choirs actually have to perform in their bit in front of the artistic directors and show that they have managed to learn their songs. And then for the last week they come here. So the concert is on Saturday, the first rehearsals are on Thursday, so there are only actually 2 days of big rehearsals here. The whole logistical operation means that the choirs have to come to Tallinn from all over Estonia. So there are 1,000 buses that have been moving them around. They sleep in schoolhouses. We have school holidays right now. So last night, nearly 20,000 people slept in different school halls all around the city. And the movement around town, depending on where they are located, by buses or on foot or in public transport, the feeding of all the singers during rehearsals and during the concert events means that like 70,000+ portions of soup are served. The Estonian Defense League women's organization is involved in that. So it's a huge exercise in logistics and resilience in every way.
And also the joy is palpable on the faces as well of the people. It's of all ages. It's remarkable. And it seems to, I'm not sure if when you think of it in a wider global context, what one can relate it to, or what lesson it has to impart for other cultures, other countries. And is it correct that it's expanding even for the future?
The lesson maybe in today's world where there is quite a lot of tendency of isolationism and sort of anger against the foreign or anger against the other. I think this is an opportunity to express your national pride in an inclusive way without pushing anybody away. For example, we also have quite a large Russian minority here in Estonia, but still there are many, many choirs also of people who speak Russian as their mother tongue, who still aspire to be part of it, so they can experience this being together. So I think the lesson is that singing together makes people really kind and happy, and you don't have to be antagonistic towards others in order to feel the pride.
Would you say that there's somewhat of approximate proportional participation of the Russian speakers in the Song Festival, population-wise?
That's a bit hard to define. There's no way we count because a lot of this identity is fluid. So there's no way to count it black and white. I would say.
But there is, as you mentioned, there's some participation.
Yes.
I wonder if, as a final question, you could share just a couple of your own choices of texts that are either particularly symbolic, particularly meaningful, that someone who's not familiar could gain an entryway to listen to one or two different choral selections that you might share.
Probably the most beloved song these days is Ma lendan mesipuu poole. I am flying towards the beehive, which actually emerged in the 90s, but has become a very important anthem of the Song Festival, I would say, and especially popular also among young people. It's a very beautiful melody, and the lyrics are by Juhan Liiv, who was a poet in the beginning of the 20th century. So very, very old lyrics, actually. But it tells a story about bees flying back home towards the beehive and defying all obstacles and bad weather and hardship. So it's very, very symbolic for Estonians coming back home. And this is, everyone tears up and everyone sings along, the audience as well.
And it was mentioned that the diaspora has a significant presence here that do come to participate as well. Was it mentioned it was the first time that at the dance they had a contingent?
That's right. That the first time they have their own performance, where it's only the diaspora groups. But it's been a trend for the last decade or so, because the Estonian diaspora is also growing. It's not in terms the original diaspora was basically formed of the refugees from the Second World War. So people who fled Estonia to Sweden, Germany, UK, Canada, US, Australia after the Second World War. Now, since Estonia is free and there's free movement in Europe, etc., in many countries there are new pockets of Estonians who study or work there, and so it's kind of the new diaspora, the new generation diaspora, and they still feel a very strong connection to Estonia. So they, in order to experience this common feelings, their obvious shortcut is to form a choir or to form a dance group and come and be part of it.
You mentioned an older text. Is there one newer text that you could mention in closing that has recently been introduced into the Song Festival, or something notable that as an addition? Or even by contemporary composers?
A funny piece from the last edition was a song by Mari Kalkun. She's a singer-songwriter who sings a lot in the Võru dialect, and she composed a piece that was performed at the Song Festival last time, and also at the dance. There was a dance for that as well. It's called Sata Sata, and it's like it's a song about rain. And it's maybe a curse, because last year there was a rain and thunderstorm during the Song Festival. So we've all been joking that let's not sing about rain, but rather sunshine.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your interest.
about does it for us. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for tuning in, our dear listeners. Please remember to rate and review and to like and subscribe to Music and Politics, the only show on the internet that combines musical grooves with philosophical insights from all around the world. Please do send any questions, thoughts, comments, and suggestions to musicandpoliticspod@gmail.com. That's one word lowercase, musicandpoliticspod. And please do find us out on Patreon. Again, at Music and Politics Pod, one word lowercase. There you can support us to keep us going to see another day. And in exchange for the cost of an overpriced cup of coffee, we will provide curated readings and playlists from what you have already heard and where you can go next on your own journey into music and politics. Fare thee all so well.